name is Ashley and I'm a beauty influencer with Farmacy Cosmetics. Farmacy offers high quality cosmetics at low price points, and the best part, they follow European beauty standards. I am so excited to bring these products to you guys. So today I put together a beginner's makeup tutorial. So if you're interested in learning some beginner's makeup tips and learning a little bit more about my Farmacy products, stay tuned. I wanted to bring to you today a super simple, easily replicable look for beginners like myself. So I'm going to start off by telling you how I got my canvas. I washed my face with my hyaluronic acid cleanser. I'm currently waiting for my rose cleanser to come in. So I started with that and then I followed it up with my Biore charcoal strips. I like these because I can easily fit them on both my nose and my chin. I do have a Farmacy charcoal mask, but I recently used it and I try to use that pretty sparingly. Is if you're not careful with a mask or a strip like that, it can really dry out your skin. So I battle mine with my Dr. Tuna Calendula face cream. I use this morning and evening. I use this literally every single day. I have patchy dry spots all over my skin, so I like to battle it with a really deep hydrating face cream, and this is my go-to. I like to start every makeup look off with a primer. Some people will tell you to avoid a primer because it can clog up your pores, especially silicone primer. If you're using it correctly, you're not going to run into that problem. So I'm using currently the Farmacy VFX Pro Camera Ready Primer. This is a gel primer, good for all skin types. You only need about the amount of a pea, like the size of a pea, and you're going to want to use this all over your entire face. I use it on my eyelids as well as a primer. You can't even see it, it's totally clear. This one is like a gel, and I do recommend for all skin types. I think what primer is going to do is it's going to keep your makeup from clogging your pores. It's also going to give you a really smooth base to work with. And another thing it's going to do is help the longevity of your makeup because you're not going to need as much of it because you do have such a smooth surface to work with. So that is my primer. You can't even tell I have it on. There are a variety of different primers that you can purchase if you battle red skin like me. Sometimes I opt for a green primer, and that helps color correct. We also, Farmacy also carries a strobe primer, which is a cream, which I highly recommend for people with dry skin. However, if you are battling any oily spots, extra oily spots, it leaves sort of a dewy finish. So I wouldn't like that so much on my nose and on my forehead. However, I do really like the texture of that one, but I am hooked on the VFX Pro Primer right now. So I like to let that sit for a few minutes. It's important that you let it set before you try and put foundation on it, because if it's not fully set, it's going to combat with your foundation formula. So now I'm going to guess that my primer is set in pretty good. So I'm going to opt for a full coverage semi-matte foundation. This is my VFX Camera Ready foundation, and I use the lightest shade. This one is really great if you're a selfie queen, if you're going to take a lot of pictures. I really like this foundation. I also do use the Stay Matte. The only problem I sometimes run into is if my skin's extra dry, it is going to grab on any of my dry patches. So I'm going to just put some down. Super easy. When I put my foundation on, I like to use a beauty blender. It's honestly just a personal preference. If you like a brush, a kabuki brush is a great way to go. So my beauty blender, I always get it damp beforehand. I need to wash mine. I always get it damp beforehand. Some people will tell you not to do that, especially if you're not using a water-based foundation. The water and the silicone could battle. It doesn't really make sense, but they don't interact well. But my foundation is a water-based foundation, so I'm not worried about it. And this is a great way to get my product to go a lot further. You'll see it's really, really super duper simple to apply your foundation with a beauty blender. One thing to keep in mind is to be really careful about how hard you're pounding it into your skin, because if you're working your foundation too hard, it's going to end up in your pores, and then that kind of negates the purpose of that primer that we just put on, because the primer is meant to protect our pores from the makeup. But if we're putting on our makeup too hard, obviously we're going to pound it into the pores regardless, and then again, waste of time. So I like to pick a foundation color that matches my neck, because my neck is going to have the truest color. My face is going to get red for a number of reasons when I get out of the shower. Heat kind of draws some red out, some irritation. The sun's going to change the color of my skin. Lighting's going to change the color of my skin. So I try to pick a color that really matches my neck, and then I try to pull my foundation onto my neck a little bit. If you're a first timer, if you were using a brush, you would kind of want to use like a stippling motion, and then maybe a sort of blending motion sometimes. I normally start at my forehead, but today, just for you guys, I wanted to show you right off the bat how to get these big areas. So I'm going to move back up here. I always pull my foundation down. In my hairline, it's a little bit different, but I pull my foundation down because I find that if I pull up, I'm again going to be pulling on those dry patches that I have, but I'm also going to be putting foundation color into the very fine hairs on my face, and that's really one way that's going to end up accentuating them. I'm gonna do my nose so it doesn't dry here. I try to make sure, and the beauty of a beauty blender is that you can get these smaller areas. And I want to get all of the crevices. I want my foundation to look as natural as possible. Today I'm looking kind of red. So if I had some on hand, I would probably use a CC cream. CC cream would color correct. It really helps battle redness in people's faces. And it offers sort of a medium coverage. So if you didn't want to build your foundation on top of it, you wouldn't even have to. So I try to get in my hairline too, but be careful with how much you're putting in your hairline, because otherwise you might end up actually coloring your hair. So again, I take it down to my neck and blend. And I believe that I have I'm going to use my mirror real quick, some pretty good coverage going on here. I don't normally go for a totally full coverage. I like to look a little bit more natural, and natural skin just does not look, I don't know, like they sometimes do when they're camera ready. I do, that's a fun look. And that's one thing about this foundation, is you can really get that super smooth camera ready look. My skin normally won't go like that. And I'm not going to put any concealer on my acne today. That's a lot of extra work, and we're really trying to go for a really basic look today. So there is my foundation, nice and simple. I like to let it set, that way I can see if I need to build more coverage somewhere, or if I, missed some blending. So I'm going to leave it be for just a second, and I need some water. It's so dry, you guys. Oops. And then I do something like that. Another cool trick, if you were trying to make your lips look bigger, is to use your foundation or your concealer over your lips, especially on the outer corner, and you could reshape your lips, which is fun. So I think I got it all worked out. I have some dry patches that I'm battling right now, so I'm trying not to let it set in them, because that can be a huge problem. So that's that. So I'm going to go in really quick while I'm waiting for that to set, and I'm going to use, I have the light from my mirror. I'm going to use my Pharmacy lip conditioner. And this is especially useful in the wintertime when your lips are really dry. So while I finish up the rest of my makeup here, I'm going to let my lip conditioner do its work. So some people would use a big powder brush to set with. I really like poofs, and I like the poofs because I feel like they don't pull up my skin at all, which is something, again, that I'm really battling with dry skin. I'm really battling with that with brushes. So I'm going to use my poof today, and I actually use my Pharmacy Face Perfecting powder, pressed powder. And I use this even if I don't wear liquid foundation. I use my pressed powder all the time. I use this to set my makeup. You could use, oh my gosh, excuse me. You could use a translucent setting powder or whatever kind of powder you were looking for, but this is my go-to. So see, I put some product on my poof. And this is just a way more gentle way to put on your powder makeup. And then I'm not dragging anything up. I also think that using a powder helps to offer a little bit more coverage, especially if you used a colored powder like I do. And then it helps me build. And I like to set the foundation and the primer on my eyes with my pressed powder as well. So see how soft and how gentle that was? Then I don't pull up any dead skin, and I don't make any of these blotches any worse than they already are. And it's kind of like magic. I love these babies. I got them on Amazon. Well, I got them for Christmas, but they came from Amazon. So there's that. There's a nice, simple, subtle coverage. So I won't go full on contour highlighting. That's still kind of a process that I'm learning, but I will go in and do some blush because I do want to bring in a little bit of color. So this is my 3-in-1. Oh, dusty. This is my 3-in-1 kit. Contour, highlight, and blush. And I'm going to go in and put some blush on. I'm going to use this blush brush that I have from e.l.f. It's very flat. It's very, it's got a shape to it. So this is, it's really easy to kind of fan with this. That's what I'm going to do. This blush is kind of dark, so I'm going to go pretty easy on it. And what I do when I put on my blush is I take my brush and I find my pupil and I kind of roll my brush back and then go back from there. So one roll back, and then I want to bring it up to my ear with my face shape. You could also go and just go above, you know, where you find that cheekbone and really put some blush. I like to work my blush back and forth. Just a little bit of color, guys. I'm careful not to bring it in too far because of how big my cheeks are. So I just kind of try and get this back part of my cheek really. And if I sometimes go a little bit heavy with it, I go in with a blending brush and try to be really careful because obviously this is going to defeat the purpose of using my little poof. Yay or nay? I'm thinking yay. Let me check it out. Ooh, that was a good blush today, girl. And then I'll probably put on a little bit of highlight just because I'm already here. So I'm going to take my tapered highlight brush. I do have a smaller one too, but I really want to go in for a simple look, and I'm going to take my highlight color and just really easy, just take it right here on the very highest part of my cheek, going where I'm going to catch the light. Let's see if we got any color there. Oh yeah, yes, queen. I can't believe I just said that on camera. Okay. And then I try to blend it out a little bit if I can't, if it's too much. It's really easy to end up, oh, look at my crazy hair. It's really easy to end up with too much, and you can bring it back a little bit. So just put it on with ease. So see the little bit of highlight. So that's just a little bit of blush and highlight, just a little something to give our face some light. So we've done a foundation, we've done a powder, we've done a blush, and we did a little bit of highlight. So the next thing we're going to want to focus on is our eyes. And I like to start with my eyeliner versus putting it on last because then I can smudge and I can really work with it. So I'm going to use my Express Waterproof Eyeliner Pencil from Pharmacy, and I am going to bring up my little mirror, and I'm going to try and keep, because of the shape of my eyes, I do have hooded eyes, I'm going to try and keep my eyeliner pretty light and pretty thin line right at my waterline, my lash line. And if it messes up, I don't mind too much because I go back in and I use an eyebrow liner or an eyeliner brush to smudge. Because I actually don't want a really thick defined line anyway because it's too harsh for the shape of my eyes. Usually. Sometimes I'm all about it. So this technique that I'm using, you could call it smudging. I like to call it smoking it. Smoking my eyeliner. The idea of what I'm doing is I'm kind of just grabbing it and pulling it to even out its location. That's kind of heavy, so we'll go for a smoky eye today. This eye's harder, guys. I had a little accident earlier this year, and it kind of, I had to have stitches in my eye, on my eyelid, and it sort of changed the shape of my eye. So I struggle to put eyeliner on this eye quite a bit. There. I got one a little higher than the other. I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna work it out. Here's the thing about makeup. They can tell you, whoever can tell you all the rules they want to, but the truth is there are no rules, and just do whatever makes you feel beautiful and whatever whatever you love, really. I try looks all the time that are definitely not meant for me. Not meant for my skin color, not meant for my eye color, not meant for my eye shape. And here I am, keeping on, keeping on. I think that'll work. I can work with that. What do you think? Eyeliner kind of heavier on one side than the other. I do, like I said, have sort of a droopy eye. So I'm going to go in with eyeshadow, and I'm going to do a horizontal eyeshadow. So I'm going to do lightest on my inner 2/3, and then I'm going to go with a little bit darker color, and then I'm going to take my darkest color and create a V to create an illusion on my eyelids. So I'm using my Morphe palette. I'm cheating on Pharmacy just a little bit. I have a lot of color left in this palette, and I'm not ready to part with it. So I'm going to take my flat Pharmacy brush. This is my favorite brush. And I'm going to pick a light color, and I'm going to start by working with that. So I'm going with kind of a brown color. If I get too much product on my brush, I just tap it off. And I'm going to start working on the inner 2/3 of my eyes. Oh, lady. Puppy dog is up. Oops, that's not the right color. That would have been bad news bears. The great thing about using a flat eyeshadow brush is you can sort of tap your color where you want it and then blend it out. These are sort of like clay colors. I like them. The shades. Clay sort of shade. It's fun. Now I'm taking my makeup up above my crease line. I want to create my own crease because of my hooded eyes. So there. Lightest color on the inside. So now I need to go back and I need to pick up a darker color. And I'm going to go with one just a little bit darker, actually. And I'm going to take that on just this outer 2/3 of my eye. And then I'm going to work it. I'm going to try and kind of blend it into my other color so that I don't have any harsh lines. And I'm actually just going to use these two colors, I think. I'm not going to go back with a third one because this is creating a nice smoky look. And here's what I'm saying about my little V. So on my eyelid, it's more of like a circular V than a strong V. So that's going to create some depth. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to work with it some more in a second here. So tap, 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 tap. And see, now where we smoked our eyeshadow or eyeliner, you can barely tell that one eye has more on it than the other. That's just because of the shape of my eyes and because of my unfortunate accident earlier this year. So then I'm going to go in with a blending brush. I like to use this little round blendy brush, and I'm just going to start from my lightest color out. And what I want to do here is ensure that we have no defined lines. Some looks you want defined lines. This is really not one of those. I like to work with sparkle quite a bit, but I decided to go for a really matte look today. A smoky matte look. So you can see how we created some definition. We brought our crease up a little bit higher than we normally might. I'm going to go back in with my light color and make sure we're matching up to our dark color. Because we don't want our dark color to take over the whole look. It's not the most important part of it. There. What do you think? If I have any droppings, if I have any eyeshadow that sort of falls under my eyelid, I just take a Q-tip in and pull it. Try not to make a big fuss out of it because I don't want to accidentally blend it in to my foundation. If I'm doing like a really big dramatic look, I would probably not put my foundation on before my eyeshadow. So there's that really basic, easy blended look. The last thing I'm gonna do for these eyes is I'm gonna go in with a really light color into the inner corners of my eyes. I'm gonna use, I have a smudge brush. I'm gonna use my smudge brush. It's really small, so I'm gonna use that to get in there. And for this, I am gonna use my sparkly, sort of a champagne color. I'm just gonna take it right in the innermost part. And it's gonna kind of open up my eye a little bit. And I like to drag it down just a little bit onto my lower eyelid. I do want to make sure that the sparkle doesn't go too low, or it tends to get in those little bags under my eyes. So that sort of opened that up. I'm going to take my eyeliner onto my bottom lid today, but before I do that, because my conditioner has set in for the most part, I'm going to put some plumper on. This is my Pharmacy Lip Plumper. I like it because it doesn't create actually too large of a reaction. Drier. But it does just enough to kind of fill in any lines that I have on my lips and just sort of make them big. And another thing is it makes an absolutely stunning lip gloss. I'm gonna let that sit while we apply the rest of our makeup really quick. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on my bottom. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to blend it out. Smudge it out. I don't always put it on my bottom lid, but we're going for it today. And that's that. Simple, simple, simple. One thing I love about this eyeliner is when my eyes start watering, it's not going to run from my waterline. It's going to stay exactly where I put it. So there's my finished eyeshadow look. We'll go in with some mascara and then we'll be pretty much done. I'm going to use my Starlook Pharmacy mascara. This is my favorite mascara from Pharmacy. I also really love the Zen for everyday wear. It's very simple. It separates your lashes and makes them really long. This Starlook though, and this is a great tip about mascara, not to do this because it's going to promote growth and dry out your mascara, but instead to twirl your mascara wand. This wand is so cool. It's a cone, pine cone shape. Come on, focus. And it grabs even your ittiest bittiest lashes. So I'm going to go in. And shimmy. And shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. See how much that built my eyelash? Rude. When I put it on my lower lashes, I try to keep it on the outer half of my lashes. Okay, want to close my eyes? So much different. I love this mascara so much. It's my favorite that I've ever worn ever. That's Lady. She's very disrespectful. So this cone shape, you want to keep it in the corner of your eyes, in the corner of your eyes when you're putting your mascara on, because that's where it's going to grab your little tiny lashes. Look at those lashes, guys. So there you have it, a simple smoky eye. For hooded eyes, for beginners, for whatever. Let's take a closer look. There. We're going to keep it just like that. We're going to use just a gloss today in this brown look, and we're going to call that a day. So if you want to see more looks like this, continue to check into my page. I will be posting videos, hopefully weekly, if not more, with easy looks, holiday looks, going out looks, whatever looks you're looking for. So drop me a comment if there's something in particular that you're looking for. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.